everyone, I'm here to do my August wrap-up video. I will be telling you about the books that I've read this month and a little bit about them, what I thought of them. Some will be maybe getting a review on the channel as well, but I'm not sure because I haven't had much time to record videos. But yeah, let's get started. I read 13 books this month and I'm almost done with number 14, but that one will make it into my August wrap-up video. I read quite a few books on my Kindle, so I'm going to talk about those first. The first one that I read is Eve. Well, not the first one that I read, but it is the first one on my list. Eve is a dystopian novel. It is about a girl who lives in a world where girls are taught that men are evil and they shouldn't be trusted, and the only one they can trust from the opposite sex is the king. And Eve is the main character, and she goes to an all-girl school, and she discovers that when you graduate you do not get to practice on your trades and learn trades or whatever. She discovers that there's a building on the same grounds as her school where all the graduates are kept in beds and they are strapped up, and they are basically giving birth to one child after another. And when she discovers that, she escapes and she sets off in the wilderness, and that's basically the plot of the story. It's a really short story, it's only 200 pages, but I really liked reading it, and I've heard some mixed things about it, but I really liked it. I love the male character who is introduced when Eve is in the wilds. I really like him. I liked Arden, who is a heroine as well. And yeah, it was just a nice story. I thought the romance part in it wasn't overwhelming, but because it's a world where girls are taught that men are evil, it is an important part of the story. But I really liked it. I gave it 4 out of 5. It was a quick read, and if you're looking for a quick dystopia type read, I'd recommend picking it up. And then the second book I read is The Strange Case of Finley, Jayne, which is the prequel, I cannot talk today, I'm so sorry, to The Girl in the Steel Corset by Kady Cross, and I really liked it. I gave that 4 out of 5 as well. We basically meet Finley before she gets her job at the place where she works at the beginning of The Girl in the Steel Corset. And I really liked the short story. It's 78 pages long. I think I read it in an hour. I liked the glimpses that we saw of Griffin, because I love Griffin, and yeah, it was just a nice story. It was nice to see Finley before she's in The Girl in the Steel Corset, and just to see how she discovers that she's different and stuff. So I'd recommend that one as well. It's free for Kindle right now on Amazon, so if you want to read it, I'd download it. You can also download a Kindle app as well, so you can read it on your laptop or your phone or whatever. Then the next book that I read was The Beginning of After by Jennifer Castle, and the book is about a girl named Laurel, and she is having dinner with friends of her parents, and her parents and the parents of David, which is he's her neighbor, and they decide to go off for ice cream, and Laurel decides to go home and do homework because she has some kind of test or something, and David, her neighbor, decides to go somewhere else as well. And then she gets the call that her entire family died in a car crash, and the whole story is about her trying to deal with the loss of her family and coming to terms with the fact that she blames David's father for the whole crash. And I have to be honest with you, I thought this would be one of my favorite reads of the year. I was really, really, really looking forward to reading the book. And it disappointed me. And it's not that the storyline is bad, but, well, I missed some highs and lows, because we start off at a relative calm point, and then the family dies, and that's low. But we only go up a little bit, and then we stay there. There are no highs and lows. It's a rather flat line. And I like stories where we see struggles and moments where a character overcomes a certain fear or something she's dreading or whatever. But it didn't really happen, and I love the story, how David and Laurel are trying to live with what happened. But for me, there wasn't enough happening in the story, and I'm really disappointed in that, because I think Jennifer Castle did a wonderful job in writing the story, because it was over 400 pages, and for a story where nothing exceptional happens, that's I read it within 24 hours, and I couldn't stop reading, but I really missed some kind of climax or whatever. But other than that, I'm not entirely sure how to rate this, because depression and losing people you care about is really close to my heart. But I expected more of this particular book, so it was a disappointment for me. I gave it 3 out of 5, and I'm not even sure if I will leave it at that. But yeah. Next book that I read was Graffiti Moon by Cath Crowley, and I really like that book. It's about a girl who is basically in love with a graffiti artist named Shadow, and he paints all over the city, and she loves his art. And one night, she and her girlfriends meet up with 3 guys, and they are going to look for Shadow. But what she doesn't know is that Shadow is among the guys. And it's just such a cute story, and I really love reading it. And it reminded me a bit of You've Got Mail, because in You've Got Mail, she doesn't know that he is the same guy as on the internet. So it was such a lovely story. I really liked it, and I would definitely recommend picking up a copy or just reading it, because I really love the story, and I definitely recommend it. Then I read He's After Me by Chris Higgins, and I got this one for review. And this is about a girl who is basically struggling with life because her parents are separated. Her father has a new girlfriend who is only 9 years older than her, and she's having difficulty dealing with that until she meets Jem, and Jem is lovely and the ideal boyfriend, and they get together, and he gets controlling, and she discovers that it's not her that he's after. And I really liked the way it was written. It was written just in regular story format, and then you saw little snippets of a stalker in between the chapters, but you didn't know who the stalker was until halfway in the book or something. Sure, you had a hunch, but you didn't know for sure. And I really liked this book. I thought it was a great story about love gone wrong, and the ending of the book is so sad. And I really liked reading it. It was different from other YA books that I've read. Most of them are boy meets girl, girl and boy fall in love, they are a couple, they have some struggles, and they live happily ever after. I know that's not always the case, but a lot of books choose that path. But this one, it was completely different, and I really liked it. So I would recommend picking up a copy as well. Then I read A Beautiful Dark by Jocelyn Davies, and it's about a girl who discovers that she's different, but she doesn't know what is up with her until there are 2 guys named Devin and Asher who come into town, and they enroll in her school, and she discovers what kind of powers she has, and what the real mission is, why Asher and Devin are around her. And I really liked reading it, but I felt like I was at 95% of the book, and then suddenly it was, I need a plot, let's work up to a climax. And I really liked the climax, but I would have appreciated it if it was introduced earlier, because it was really slow build up for the entire story, and was more about who she liked better, if she liked the cool Devin or the hot Asher. And then all of a sudden there's some kind of plot about their leaders wanting to do something with her, and I'm not going to tell you what, but I felt it came out of nowhere, and I would have liked it better if there was some kind of introduction or a more build-up story, I guess. So I gave it 3 out of 5, and yeah, I was a bit disappointed by that, but this is the first in a trilogy, and I didn't know that before reading, so I will definitely be picking up the sequel. But yeah, it was a nice read though, but I felt it lacked a bit in telling you what the plot was. Then I read Slide by Jill Hathaway, and I really like that book. It's about a girl who can slide into the minds of others by touching objects that she has, or that they have left an emotional imprint on. So like wedding rings and all that kind of stuff, but people can leave emotional imprints on things like t-shirts because they think about their love interest or something. And one night she slides into the mind of someone who just killed her sister's best friend, and it takes from there, and I really liked reading it. And it was a typical mystery, so the murderer wasn't uncovered until in like the last 20 pages or something, but I really liked reading it, and I definitely recommend it. I thought it was an excellent debut. I gave it 5 out of 5. But it comes out in 2012, so it takes a little while still, but I definitely recommend reading that if you have the chance next year. And then last of the Kindle books that I've read is Firebrand by Firebrand, what's the, oh my god, I can't remember the name. Oh, Gillian Phillip. This is about about people who live behind a veil. Basically, they live in a magic world, and they can hear each other's thoughts, and they live on practically forever. And then the main character, Seth, and his brother are banished into the real world, and basically it's a time that witch hunts are present. So when they discover that they are really strong and are practicing healing with herbs and stuff, they are suspected of being witches, and Seth's brother is captured and is threatened to be hung, or beheaded. I'm not sure anymore because I read it a couple weeks back. But they it's a really nice story, but it just wasn't for me. I was confused half the time because I didn't know what was going on in terms of, sometimes the chapter would end, and then the next chapter would take off somewhere completely different, and I had no clue what was going on in between those chapters. So I was figuring out what happened in the next 2 pages without really focusing on those pages. So yeah, it's definitely action-packed. I think people who love historical fiction more than I do may like it more than I did, but it wasn't my book. I gave it 3- out of 5, I think. It just really wasn't my thing, so yeah. So that's it for the Kindle books, and I'm already almost talking for 15 minutes, and I still have 5 books to talk about, because I also read some physical copies. I read Naomi and Eli's No Kiss List by Rachel Cohn and David Levithan, and I love this book. I really like this better than Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, and I've heard everyone likes that one better than this one, but there was something about the emotions in this book that just really touched me. It's about Naomi and Eli, who are best friends, and they have no kiss list to make sure their relationship isn't complicated or getting more complicated. And then one day Eli kisses Naomi's boyfriend, and it all escalates, and I love reading it, and it really touched me, and I would definitely recommend picking up a copy. I'm not going to tell you how it ends or what happens after that, but I really liked it, and I would definitely recommend it. Then the next book that I read is 13 Reasons Why by J. Asher, and I really liked reading it, but I expected more from it. I heard that a lot of people were really emotional while reading it, and I didn't have that. I had some moments that I was like on the verge of tears, but they didn't come because then something else would happen and take the entire moment away. I gave it 4 out of 5 because I thought it was a good book, but it wasn't what I expected in terms of emotional read. So yeah, I really like the way it was written though. It's written like we are listening to the audio tapes, and I really like that format. So yeah, I gave it 4 out of 5. Then I read The Mazerunner by James Dashner, and I absolutely love this book. It might be a bit slow on terms of plot and a little bit obvious because Thomas, who is the main character, has certain thoughts that he can use to fix things. Let's put it that way. It's about a guy named Thomas, and he wakes up in an elevator, and that elevator goes up to a glaze. They don't call it the glade. Oh man, the glade, and they have there are 60 guys or so living in there, and they have set up a little society. They have vegetables and meat, and everything is like in the outside world, except that that glade that they live in is surrounded by a big maze, and every morning the runners go into the maze to find a way out, and they come back at night and they still haven't found a solution to get out. So that's basically the plotline. I really liked it. I definitely recommend picking up a copy. I also got the Scorched Trials in already. I've heard that it's a little bit less than this one, but I really like this one, so I would definitely recommend it. Give it 5 out of 5. Then I read This Lullaby by Sarah Dessen, and that's another one that I really loved. It's about a girl who has rules about the guys she's dating. She has some kind of rule because she has learned from her mother. Her mother is currently working on husband number 5, and everything goes smoothly until she meets Dexter, and Dexter doesn't know what no means, and oh man, I love Dexter. Dexter is the one that really made this book. He was funny and clumsy and determined and sarcastic, and I just loved him. And if you haven't read this book, I would recommend picking up a copy. It may be a really light, easy, girly read, but I really liked it. And I definitely liked it better than Keeping the Moon. And then the last one I finished is Blood Red Road by Moira Young. It's a post-apocalyptic kind of read. It's not really. I thought it was dystopian, but it's not really dystopian. It's about a girl named Saba, and her twin brother gets kidnapped, and she basically sets on a quest to find him. And I really liked reading it. I missed the typical dystopian elements because I thought it was a dystopian. But it was a really good read, and I like that it was written entirely in her dialect, or her accent. And it just was really nice read. I really liked Jack. Jack was amazing. I really think he gave some character into the story, so yeah, I would definitely recommend picking up a copy, but do not expect it to be a dystopian novel. And then I'm currently working on XVI by Julia Karr, and it's taken me forever to get through because somehow I'm just not gripped by the characters. I do not care about what they do, so yeah, but I probably finished this today, so it counts for my August reads. So yeah, that's all that I read this month, and this video is incredibly long, and I'm sorry about that, and yay if you made it this far. If you want to see a separate review of one of the books that I mentioned, just let me know in the comments below, and I'll see if I can record a video on it. So yeah, I'm not gonna take this any further, so let me know in the comments below what books you read last month and which were your favorites, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.